Oh, I like this. I like these two guys. It's Jack Morgan, and Bo Refik. He's over in I think it's Romania is where he's at, and midlife crisis. This is good. Let's listen.
Range where the deer and the antelope play. All right, buckle up. We sound good. This one's by Bo Refik, aka Legion of Men. He's got a pretty big channel. I'll link those down below. This one's titled "Why Men Have a Midlife Crisis." I'm gonna go ahead and switch that up to like millennials because that's like that 30 to kind of 45 gap. And before we dive in deep here, if you're new here, welcome. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get deep. Um, I want to say I had a quarter life crisis, and I think most of you have probably dealt with this, and definitely you. But it's around that 27 to 29, 26 to 29 mark. Call it 27, where you go, oh my God, I'm going to be 30.
I remember that.
And
29.
you know, when you're younger, when you're like 19, 20, you think 30, you're like basically dead. Well, at 27, when you, especially if you were like me, where you had nothing going on really, you kind of get nothing going for you.
No, actually, I did. It was I finished my master's degree at that. Oh no, no, wait a minute. 27 is when I went out west. That's right. Uh, Went to what do you call it? Yellowstone. Jeez, can't think. End of the day for me here. But 27 was a big year for me. Turning 28. It was what was that? 92, 93, 93. I turned 28, and that was a big year. That I had worked my ass off for you know, God, 5 years solid. Yeah, five, because I started in '88, and no vacation, no time, going to school at night, and then it wasn't until I was 31 that I finished my master's degree. But oh, those days were something. Anyway,
Um, it's scary shit. So, anyways, I'm 35 now, and I kind of feel like I'm going through not a midlife crisis, but we're gonna get deep. Let's let Big Daddy Bo here
Big
take it
Daddy
over.
Bo, Legion of Men.
Welcome back, Tribe. Today's episode is focused on like the midlife crisis. We were covering one on the main channel, which was the guy pretty much talking about how he'd been through years of the grind, years and years waking up doing the same thing over and over again until honestly you find out like, hey, 10, 20 years have passed. Who am I? What's happening with my life? You know, the quiet desperation that so many guys are living under. And I just wanted to spell it out for you. You know, as you get older, I'm in my mid 30s now, 35,
Hey,
and the conversation actually changes, believe it or not. As you get older, it's not the same when you're in your 20s, you know? Death hits different when you're pushing 40. Not the abstract concept you brushed off.
He's in
yo,
shape,
that dude's yoked.
no doubt.
I've watched this channel for quite some time, but usually just see his head.
Yeah,
But Macaulay Bulkin, that's who he is.
in
Popeye.
your 20s, but the cold reality that slaps you across the face when you're standing at your parents' funeral or, you know, when the first health scare knocks on your door. Suddenly you're staring at your ceiling and it's 3 a.m. You're calculating how many summers you got left, wondering why your back hurts from just sleeping wrong, and then you realize somehow 2 decades of your adult life vanished while you're busy being everything to everyone except yourself, you know, and this isn't just about buying a Porsche or chasing some 25-year-old Instagram model. You know, those are the sitcom versions. The reality cuts deeper, dude. When you wake up one morning and you realize you spent your entire fucking life being the good son, the reliable employee, the stable husband, and the present father. You're checking every box society handed to you, played every role assigned to you, and somewhere along the way, you lost the script to your own story. You did everything right. Straight A's in school because mom and dad expected it.
You know what's crazy? I'm 35. I have no kids, and I can't even relate to what he just said about, imagine how many people, have kids pretty young, and then, you got to do the right thing. So you stay with that job, which most people just stay with that job. That was a big thing for me when I was 27, and I was it wasn't that I was doing the same thing. There was this piece of I missed that state of life where you're just living in the moment. All you really care about is like Saturday or going skateboarding on Sunday and going to the beach. And I miss that. I'm trying my best to kind of live that way now. But I was stuck, forget the kids, forget all that stuff. I was stuck in what am I going to do with my life? Thinking that that's going to solve some sort of problem. When I think just being able to live in the moment is key. But just imagine having kids and then you really kind of not give up on your life, but you kind of just stay stuck. So I could see how that could probably hit pretty hard. That's probably why my parents became alcoholics. Not to mention, I lived a pretty. Maybe you could relate to this, maybe you can't. Um, I almost died when I was 18. I had to make a wish and my body failed. Blah, blah, blah. I had like a 30% chance of living. Not to get depressing, I'm just saying, but when I made it through that,
Yeah, he mentioned in a different video that he had a colonoscopy at age 18. I thought that was early.
kind of like, oh man, I'm actually like, that floated me for a long time. That floated me for like 10 years. Nothing really mattered except for I'm here, I'm chilling. Like, look at me go. And I was like taking advantage of that. I kind of thought I might die early. So I was just smoking cigarettes, partying. And now I'm like, oh, I'm going to live. I'll probably live a long time, I hope. But for me, I experienced like this near death thing really early. My mom died when I was 30. My dad passed away at 35 a few months ago. So I've experienced these things. So I do feel that. But I don't have the kids aspect. And there's a big part that he might mention, he might not. But there's a big part where we kind of I feel like sometimes we take for granted. We just think like the people around us are going to live forever. Like oh, they're not going anywhere. Like this is going to be forever. Um so that is one thing in my life where I kind of look back and I go, okay, I got to make sure that I'm still living in this moment and not living in like this future mindset which I got stuck in. Maybe you feel that way too. You're constantly worried about like what am I going to do? How am I going to do it versus just doing it, dude. Anyways, back to him. I just wanted to say, like, everything he just said, I'm like, I experienced all that by like 30, Like,
No, I'm always like trying to learn new things and drive myself to just get outside of my normal workaday life, what I do for 8.5, 9 hours a day, and just sort of think about other things. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and then I get into things. I got too many. I got a lot of hobbies, but I love having my autonomy and being able to decide to do those things rather than ask permission. And then they're not expensive things that are. I buy a computer game or I'll buy a meditation headband or something and play around with that and what things I can do with it. And I don't know. Uh, I'm reluctantly trying to get back into doing more motorcycle work, using these little orange cones and setting them up in not my driveway, but like a parking lot that's not being used, and then just doing these different exercises. That's a whole other thing I don't want to get into right now, but um, I might do a course this weekend on Sunday. I don't know if I want to spend the money. It's not a lot. It's like 30, $40, something like that. But it'd be a nice refresher.
like 35, like way earlier than you would expect. I just don't have kids yet. I'm going to be like a geriatric father, and I don't want to let them down.
Degree, because that's what responsible people do. The safe career path. And you got the marriage, the mortgage, the minivan. You got the whole template for the successful life. You became the guy everyone relies on. The one
Bo, over here, this guy, um, he went over to Romania and found a woman over there, uh, and got married and had. I think he had one or two kids so far. So, um, but definitely got out of the United States, got away from feminism and all that shit that you can choke your, choke on your spoon, I guess, with.
One who shows up early, the one who stays late, the one who coaches the little league weekends and still makes it to every recital. You're the responsible one, the dependable one, the fucking adult in the room. Then one day you're sitting in traffic, the same route you've driven for 15 years, and it hits you. When was the last time you did something because you wanted to? Not because it was expected, not because it was responsible, but because it lit a fire in your soul. You can't remember. That's when the panic sets in. Not the heart racing, sweat dripping kind, the quiet kind that sits in your chest like a stone and it whispers that you spent decades building a life that looks perfect on paper, but it feels empty in practice. Society calls this the midlife crisis, like it's some temporary malfunction, a glitch in the matrix that'll sort itself out if you just keep grinding. But this isn't a crisis. It's an awakening. It's a brutal
Looks
recognition
cool.
that you've been running a marathon with no finish line. You're collecting these trophies that mean nothing to you, living a life designed by a committee.
Wow.
Let's just take a moment, if you're watching this, to just
Yeah.
appreciate this view. I would really like to be at this place. Um, he, I agree with everything he's saying, but I think a lot of people, especially like a lot of people haven't had kids yet. And a lot of my friends, they didn't have kids till their mid 30s. And I think that's a big thing. It was kind of like subconsciously the millennials, Gen Z is way ahead of the curve, but the millennials kind of knew like, hey, I got to wait out because once this happens, oh, like your life is like for the kids now. So I think that's another reason so many people don't have kids, aside from the fact that no one trusts each other. That's always a good one. But that's just something to think about. Also, for the women,
I was thinking about that today about how um, this, I don't know what you want to call it, but this thing happening with kids trying to pair up, they don't trust each other. I was thinking, the bottom line, it kind of reminds me of the 2008, 2009 crisis, where it was a breakdown in the trust of the backbone of the American economy, which was housing, mortgages, mortgage-backed securities, and um, anyway, it's just the breakdown of trust is really important for a society. You got to have trust.
men, just take this into account. Imagine you're a woman, which you could be if you wanted to. You go, girl. You know, my uncle used to be my aunt. No big deal. She likes dudes now. No, I'm just kidding. That never happened. But my point is, imagine you're a woman. Um, Imagine turning 30 as a chick. It's probably, and you don't have a kid yet, right? You're probably, they're a little tweaking out. But by 32, 33, most women I know by 32, 33, there, there is like this level of, there's
Yeah, there's a lot of fear. The older you get, the more risk there is for birth defects, for a lot of birth problems during birth. It's not, you don't have that genetic material that you had when you're in your 20s. So there's a good book called Deep Nutrition, and the first three chapters are about women and pregnancy and what they give to the child in terms of genetic material. And then, it's trying to space children, put enough space to rebuild the genetic material, so the next kid has, it's a good book. It's called Deep Nutrition.
no career that's going to save that impulse of wanting a kid at that age. And then also, like, you have to give birth. You know, so add that to the fucking list, right? I just thought about that for women because dudes, I feel like we don't. we're not worried about that. Not that you can't have a kid if you're a dude. You totally can, brother. Congratulations, brother. You're a mother. I'm just kidding around. But anyways, something to think about.
He's funny.
Um, it's got to be kind of rough for not to sympathize and be like some kind of simp, but just think about it for a second. We all have moms, right? Sympathize for your mom for one fucking second, would you? I'm just joking.
Yep.
You start to notice it in other men too. The distant look in their eyes during the meetings, the way they linger a bit too long in their car after work, how they talk about their teenager's college fund while their hands are gripping that beer super tight. They're all feeling it, man. This slow burning realization that they've mastered the art of delayed gratification so completely that gratification isn't even on the menu anymore. It's like you're playing a video game, grinding through levels, accumulating achievements, only to
Beautiful
realize
view.
that you never actually enjoyed playing. You got really good at it, like really fucking good. So good that everyone expects you to keep playing, to keep leveling up, to keep achieving, and now you're too invested, too deep in the game to just walk away. You got the high scores to maintain, NPCs depending on you, a whole universe of expectations you built around the guy who never fails. Your own needs? They got filed away in a folder labeled someday, but buried under mortgage payments, college savings plans, and an endless list of responsibilities that comes with being the guy everyone counts on. You've become so practiced at putting yourself last that it feels like second nature. No, in reality, it feels like your only nature. Because the
To be fair, I'm going to use one of my best friends as an example. He does not watch this channel. He doesn't watch. I'm not worried about him seeing this, but he knows this about himself. He was the kind of guy that would thought that as long as he had a girlfriend or was going to have a wife, that he was basically set, right? And there is that thing where nothing's more important than family, right? Your community, in my opinion. But at the same time, it was like this kind of excuse in a way. So what I mean is like he's talking about, you wake up, you're 45, and you never went after your goals. What are you living for? Well, the truth is like kids and a wife and all that stuff. Take all that out of the equation. Most people don't even go for it anyways. So that's another thing. Like a lot of people just end up what he's talking about, and they don't have kids or any of these kind of real valid reasons to why they settled and just went for a normal job. Security, right? Like we all want security. It's financial stress is the worst, but that's just something that
Right.
I've seen in real time. Where by my time my friend's 31, it's now he feels like a loser because he didn't try anything in his life, which he did. He went to be a pro skateboarder, but he gave it up for a woman who ended up leaving him. So what I'm saying is, it was like this double-edged sword, but it's like he was still going to end up at the same outcome, is what I'm trying to say, right? I do think family is most important, but I just wanted to kind of bring that up because a lot of people, this will happen to you. It's going to happen to you a few times, especially if you're young watching this. 27 for sure. If you don't have your life together, forget it. It's going to happen. Okay. And then even me now, 35, I'm going, oh man, am I really a YouTuber guy? Am I really, whatever career you're in, you're going, am I really going to do this forever? Right. I don't know, but I'm trying to get back to that place where I kind of just let it all go and focus on the family and I'm focusing on this, but I think there is a healthy level of also kind of living in the moment, and also going after what you want, because this is what I want to be doing. So that doesn't really make sense. Anyways, back to him. Jesus. Maybe that makes
I really I just can't imagine giving up on my not giving up, but changing my career to be a YouTuber. It blows me away that these guys make a whole bunch of money. They're working for Google, okay? That's who they're working for, producing content. But to make that a career, I don't know. It's definitely a if you don't play the game, you can't win. You got to play the game. But I just enjoy what I do. I want to stop doing it to be a YouTuber, only a YouTuber. Um, I've got some interesting videos planned. Uh, so technical videos, which may not be for everybody, but I just want to get them done. So that's forthcoming.
Made sense. Maybe it didn't. But I feel like also living in the moment and like living your life and knowing what you want is a big thing because we will get older and if we don't go for these things while we're young, it's only going to get harder is what I'm trying to say.
Real trap isn't the crisis itself. It's the decades of conditioning that made it inevitable. From the moment you were old enough to understand responsibility, you've been trained to measure your worth by how well you serve others. Every time you swallowed your own desires for the greater good, you weren't being noble, you were digging a hole deeper, adding another brick to the wall between who you are and who you want to be. When it finally breaks loose, it looks ridiculous from the outside. Middle-aged dude suddenly dressing like he's going to Coachella getting tribal tattoos or dropping half his savings.
This is kind of unusual for his videos. He's usually just talking to the camera, and we only see, we don't see where he's at. He's inside his house and so on. So it's kind of unusual to be listening to him, and then he's sort of mouthing whatever he was mouthing. I think he's on vacation right now. So,
On a car that screams, "I'm still young." Everyone points and laughs, shares memes about men and their midlife crisis like it's some cosmic.
and by the way, if you look down here, he's got a little mic. I've been seeing this kind of mic. It's a wireless mic, Bluetooth mic probably, and that a lot of these YouTubers are using this little mic. Just look for it. It's right down here.
Joke, but they're missing the fucking point entirely. You know why these crises look so goddamn immature?
And women do this too. And I understand why. I'm 35, I still skateboard. Sometimes I forget I'm 35. Sometimes I forget. And then, and I've lived such a rough life. And I've also done damage to myself. A lot of sun damage, a lot of smoking, partying, bad health, parents dying, like a lot of stuff. I've lived I had a colonoscopy at 17, okay?
That's it.
Like come on. You see what I'm saying? So I get that a lot where people are like, dude, you look older than 35. I'm like, shit. At this rate, I may as well be 54. Like the amount of shit I've been through. But I also have this like inner child in me. I still have this, which I think is important, right? Like dressing like you're young or acting like you're young still. I mean, you could still be an adult, but still have your inner kid, which I think a lot of people, what's it called? Losing your dinosaur from Step Brothers. Don't lose your dinosaur, your inner child. That's a big one because I see a lot of people, man, they lose that shit early. And some people, unfortunately, they never had it.
True.
And I feel bad for those people.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Because that's exactly what they are. Decades of suppressed desires exploding out like a champagne bottle that's been shaking for 20 years. When you've spent your entire adult life being mature, responsible, and measured, you don't suddenly develop new wants. You revert to the last time you actually allowed yourself to want anything freely.
Yeah.
For most guys, that's somewhere around age 15. Think about it. That sports car you're eyeing, it's probably the same poster you had on your wall in high school. The sudden urge to learn guitar, it's not about becoming the next Eddie Van Halen. It's about reconnecting with the version of yourself that believed anything was possible. The younger woman showing you attention, she makes...
I had a recent experience like that where I finished a certification for Azure for the second time. It's the second time I've gotten the certification. And it's hard, man. It's bitching hard to do outside of your job. And because I don't really use Azure in my job. And once I finished it, I was like, I had this burst of freedom feeling that, oh, wow, and I started uh, learning GarageBand, and then uh, getting my guitar out and playing it, and then all this this energy came out of all that, and I didn't even go skiing. I just wanted to work on that, and my interests changed, but I just remember that feeling.
You feel like the varsity athlete you were before responsibility became your middle name. Most guys hit pause on their personal development the moment they step into their provider role. It's like hitting pause on a movie when you press play again 20 years later. The story picks up exactly where you let off. That's why you see 45-year-old executives suddenly talking like teenagers on social media, dressing like they're about to drop a mixtape, or making decisions that seem completely divorced from their decades of accumulated wisdom. You've probably seen the guy at the gym, the one who ignored his health for 20 years while building his business, and now he's trying to transform into Chris Hemsworth overnight. Or
Yep,
maybe it's your
I've
buddy
seen
who
him.
spent decades in a loveless marriage, or the kids, and now he's on every
Yep,
dating app trying to compress 20.
that was my dad. Stayed in, married to my mom, loveless. I mean, just yeah, but he stuck with it. Married till for 56 years. So that was a really important thing to him. But boy, did he go through hell. Oh my God.
Years of missed experience into 6 months.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit. I'll leave the rest of this video down below. I'm gonna finish it out. I'm sure it's pretty great. Give him a like. Go through some comments. But
Yeah, let's go through some comments. 50 last month, married with 2 kids. Work out 4 days a week, eat healthy foods, wonder how many years are left. That remember tomorrow isn't promised to anybody. That is true. I'm 63. Every day is a gift. I say every day is a blessing, so that's what I do. Anybody, don't worry about what other people think of you. Oh, yeah, I remember feeling that way. I was always worried about what other people thought of me. Yeah. Being trapped in this world. Look at his. That's funny. Divorced my wife, but had no kids. It was easy. A place on the beach and bought my dream car. Life is better now than it was in my 20s. I remember um, there was this guy. He was a lifty up at Alta ski resort, and I got talking to him, and he had a wife and kids, and in New Jersey, and he just picked up and left, just divorced her, left his kids, left everything behind, and he just wanted to ski. He wanted to be a ski bum, and he had a crisis, a midlife crisis, and I don't know what he did for a living, but prior to that, but he probably made some good money just to be a ski bum, but to leave everything behind like that blew me away. Nothing I've done is that extreme, but that's guy stuck in my mind. And then there's another story I have where there was this dentist, and this is right after I moved out here to Salt Lake. This dentist, um, he they got involved in a sting. He got involved in a sting operation. He was trying to hire somebody to kill his wife. What do you call that? Like a hitman or something? And they were meeting in this hotel, and this guy was meeting this hitman, and it was all being filmed because it was a sting operation. He was actually a cop, and I was watching the cop narrate, and he says, he could have changed his mind. He's sitting there in this chair in this hotel room. He could have changed his mind and walked out, and he would have been free. but he decided to go ahead with it. And then everybody broke into the room as soon as I forgot if it was like an exchange of money or what the trigger was, but and he was just on the bed and being handcuffed and yelling. They're yelling at him, and he is just the guy's crying. The guy is this whole life came shattering down, crashing in on him there. And I got thinking about that. I got thinking about him, and I think occasionally think about him, and I got what drove him? What drove this man? He's an accomplished dentist. Do you know how hard it is to become a dentist? That's fucking hard. And to what drove him? And they were involved in a divorce, and she was taking everything he had, and he wanted to kill her. And just that whole relationship. I mean, if you're that desperate, just pick up, get the hell out of town, get the hell out of Dodge, run, go, go, go somewhere, anywhere, just go, leave it all behind. Don't do that, but people, I mean, that's that craziness that we all kind of have in our primitive brain, the fight or flight, uh, in the amygdala. Um, I'm getting tired here. So the amygdala is our, was the original reptilian brain, the brain that we use to survive, to escape, you know, being hunted and so on. That fight or flight that activates. I don't know, man. It just that that scene I remember so clearly when I was watching it on TV. And well, he what he did was horrible, and he deserved what he got. But I got thinking about his life, all the things he did, and his decision to get married to this woman. And I don't know, it just stuck with me. It really spooked me for sure. Yeah, this guy lost his dad at 27, mom at 30. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. When you have kids, when your milestones start slowing down, their milestones start accelerating. It keeps you busy and engaged. That is true. This guy, wow, 39, 10,000 knew the name. Trucking company and was netting 5 to 8K a week. Wow. Psychotic episode of depression. So he got divorced. Jesus. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. Plenty of people who have children that really shouldn't. But who decides that? Oh my God. 64. Matt has 4 different types of stage 4 cancer. My doctor given me about 8 more months. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise. No more plans, doing the best to enjoy my final time. The best I can, reading my favorite books, eating my favorite foods. That's great. I believe there is an afterlife. Wow. See my dad and my aunt and uncle. Look at that. 20 years working hard and earning. Divorced. Now he has nothing. That's what happens to the guys. Gabe, in this case. Now he has nothing. Anyway, I just thought it was a good video. I'll upload this and then leave his video in the description tomorrow.